One of the issues that troubles some of us is this whole protectionism about philanthropy. You know, in the regulatory setup, why are we so bothered about where the money comes from? That if it is coming from foreign sources, then it has to be treated differently. If it is Indian sources, it's different. If I am donating to Bihar, there is one set of rules. If I am donating to Nepal or Bhutan, I don't know if they take our aid anymore, but Somalia, then what explains that restriction?
I don't know. I don't want to reply. Have you seen film Tezab?
Yeah.
Anil Kapoor.
No, it is Tezab is not about Anil Kapoor. Tezab is about Ek Do Teen.
So
that's how you introduce Tezab.
So in Tezab, there is a scene where Anil Kapoor goes into some railway yard and donating money to some poor people or something. And a little far away, the local gundas are watching him giving money to them. And the person who is watching him giving money to somebody else, he is saying verbal dialogue saying that, "Arey, इससे तो हमारा बहुत नुकसान हो जाएगा। ये हमारे एरिया में आके डायरेक्ट पैसा दे रहा है किसी को, हमारे को यूज नहीं कर रहा है एज ए मिडिल मनी, तो हमारा तो बहुत नुकसान हो जाएगा." So this is exactly the strategy and politics behind giving. If somebody else coming and giving or in that area, then government is thinking that, my God, I mean, then what is our politics of giving? What is our politics of earning those names in giving in those things? It's something like when Tamil Nadu government announced 5 kg chawal in rice for everyone, and before their announcement, if Ganesh would by coming to Pondicherry to his in-laws place, start distributing all the rice to all the Tamilians here, and and before Stalin hears he has already distributed, what will happen? I mean, Ganesh will face a lot of agitation from Stalin that, oh my God, I would have earned so much of goodwill and I would have won my next election, and this guy is coming and distributing free NREGA food to my population and all that. So, giving is politics there, because it is no more a old saying of right and left hand not knowing each other. Government would like to know everything that is being spent in that area, in their thing, and they would like to take control, because that actually decides their politics. That actually decides. It is not only about solving poverty problem.
True. May I get you in, Lalita, for your comment?
Ganesh want to say something. Ganesh is
Ganesh.
I'm going to get. Okay, please. I was going to get Ganesh.
I'll just make a very quick point based on what you asked and how Sama replied. As all of you know, I'm not a great lover of the present government, so don't take. None of my statements should be held against me saying I'm a sudden government lover. See, one thing you have to understand is there is huge amounts of spurious funds that come into the country under the guise of FCRA and everything else. And I don't want to take examples, I'm sure many of you know. So there is a problem of saying, okay, what is genuine money? What is going to fund politicians? What is going to fund something else? Sometimes anti-national activity, though that remains to be proven. So you got to give them some credit of saying that, look, be a little careful. We are now trying to expand our own lighthouses initiative to various parts of Asia. And when we went to the government in Vietnam and the government in Indonesia and said, boss, we want to set up this thing for the poor, they said, non-profit don't come anywhere near our country. Okay, so so while we talk about non-profits are not allowed to operate in Vietnam. Karlo baat. Okay, if you want to come in and make profits, do good for the country, that's fine. Because they're equally suspicious. So I'm just saying that, sometimes we have to understand that there is an other side of the mirror as well. So that was one point. Second point is I know you mentioned volunteering as CSR. I am very wary of corporate volunteering. Sometimes they make it a condition. I'll give you 1 crore, but can 200 people come and spend time in your NGO? So the poor NGOs, say, oh my God, what a waste of time. When I was chairman of NASCOM Foundation, I actually we were doing a seminar around this 2% thingy. And somebody actually said, very CSR head from a large multinational, saying we would like our people to go and spend 2 hours every Friday afternoon. But just to motivate them to go and spend some time in the community, we first take them to a 5-star hotel and give them a big lunch. So can you please convince the government that this 5-star lunch should be debited to CSR? I mean, this is the kind of question sometimes you get. So I'm saying, everybody has a point of view. So I think genuine CSR, genuine volunteering, genuine good stuff is great. But I'm just saying, let's not paint everything black. Some things are black and white.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, there is a politics, there is a strategy, there is an agenda, around all of this. And because of which I think we all are discussing this topic, I guess. Otherwise, if it was a straightforward case, we would not be having this, discussion at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lalita?
Yes. My interest comes from the other end of the seesaw. One is who is giving, and my interest is who is receiving. And how does this relationship work? And how do we make it easier for those with the giving culture to be able to trust those who are receiving, and those who are receiving to be able to identify who are the donors whom they can work with comfortably. Each one requires a different kind of relationship. So how does that relationship work, and what can we do to build that conversation, that dialogue, and that a platform for interaction, so that both giving and receiving becomes easier? Rubina, I'm fine.
I don't have a exact reply to this one, but what I see is that giving and taking doesn't get into an equal level of footing to understand each other, give respect to each other, and also dedicate time required to each other. I mean, we have seen that the person who has given money, in terms of control, they will spend a lot of time. In terms of sharing, they will not spend time. They will give money. Just because giving money, they will think that they know everything about education or everything about developmental issues or the issues of the rural development or anything that you are talking about. So, this equal understanding of that I am a sector expert in that area, I know how to spend money, I know where the money will be applied. Just because you are giving money doesn't make you a decision maker in terms of knowledge that is required to spend that money.
How do we define the contours of that relationship?
No, there are many,
where the giver interferes and where the giver does. Sorry.
So I think this is also a job of many of the middle level organizations who raise fund for the NGOs, let's say, and there are many. There are Satwas of the world and the Dasras of the world, and there are, there's several of them. I mean, I don't have to name each one of them, but there's several of them. You will see that they also play a role of money transfer more than the knowledge transfer, or more than the participation of equitability from each other. Like, for example, I'm giving money to my, let's say, sweeper in my house. Doesn't make me extraordinary sweeper myself, no?
Absolutely. Fully agree on that.
Yeah.
That's what, respecting that the giver has an urge to give and make a difference. And he or she cannot put in the time or effort to do it himself. There is someone else who's doing that work. So how do you cultivate, mutual respect?
So this is very important for an organization like yours and such organization to create that knowledge gap mechanism in place, where the value of knowledge gap or the value of the gap of equitability to understand each other. I think if those two can be really given, then usually it goes very well. For example, many CSR funding organizations, have a very good participation of their senior decision makers. You know, they really spend a lot of time, they go to the field, they understand it, they say that, listen, this part we don't understand, if you can make us understand, we will be happy to, what you call as give different shape to our money, you know, as you say, and all that. On the other hand, there are mostly other hand is that, okay, we are giving this, we want this report. This report should be according to what we want. It should go give a lot of number. It should have less qualitative analysis and more quantitative analysis and things like that. What do? Then you work yourself and then make the report for some other perspective, you know. So you work dually, you know.
Yeah.
I think,
you know, I
think Prime Minister is also started speaking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Ganesh is the first chap I know who goes and listens to the Prime Minister. I haven't met too many who went and gone. But Osama, you know, I mean, I actually wanted to pass this by Ganesh also, that, you know, philanthropy by definition is something that I want to do for what I think I like and to who I want to give to. You know, this kind of restriction and saying you can't do this and you cannot do that, and how does that come into philanthropy? I mean, you know, if I want to give money only to, you know, the red-headed gentleman of Eastern Hyderabad, I mean, why is anybody going to stop me? Sorry for my allusion to Sherlock Holmes, but you know, that's my choice, isn't it? And so to regulate that, anyway, that is a discussion we will have save for later. But you know, can I quickly get Shalini? She's hiding behind the camera.
Yes, Amir. Yeah. What do you want me to say?
I want you to say something. I mean, you heard Osama.
Yes.
Yeah.
So so yeah, it's a complex issue. The only thing I wanted to mention was about the point that he was making, how sometimes non-philanthropic activities of large corporations, in the guise of philanthropy, they may not be disguised, but they just wanted to give one or two examples. I think this is a good thing. If you ask me, I think it's a good thing if large corporations can find some way where they actually want to spend money, which is more for marketing, but ends up helping poor and marginalized populations. And I'll give two examples. One is in the garment sector, and you know, these large garment supply chains, the Gaps and H&Ms and the big you know, garment companies of the world, where much of the work at the sort of first mile level is happening through a lot of informal work, through women working from homes, you know, and they are invisible. The kind of work these women are doing and the kind of returns they get, it's totally invisible. It is extremely unequal. It is almost to some extent dehumanizing. And if the consumer can get to know, remember that whole controversy that happened about sweatshops and how, you know, in East Asia, sweatshops and a lot of, you know, so I think that in garment sector, if that happens, and if big companies can actually start, and unfortunately in COVID times, we have not seen anything happening in the region. I'm not talking only of the country, in the region, none of these big companies have done anything. Okay. The other is in agriculture, where actually things are happening because Wrigley's of the world and all these Nestle's of the world know that their markets in the West, consumers have started demanding what percentage of your profit is going to the farmer. And that is actually good. Yeah, that is good. So that is the only point because I think Osama has covered a lot of ground, that part. And I agree with him and want to emphasize it's very complex. In India, it's very complex. But that part, I think we don't work very much on that how large corporates, we can find that intersection where the large corporates it will be a win for them, and it will be a win for people in our countries, in the region, in developing countries. who are marginalized, who are working in the informal economy, farmers, that bunch. I'll stop here.